everyone. My name is Sandra Waldrop from Kingdom Acres. Welcome, welcome. I'm just gonna go ahead and move this chair out from behind me so I'm not so restricted with the chair. I hope everyone is well today. After my live, let me just fix my camera, I'm a little crooked. After my live, I will be jumping back over to Craft Around the Clock and catching all the market days, sellers. I've already been on there this morning watching people with all of their fantastic goods, and thankfully people are a little bit faster than me, so I haven't gotten myself in any trouble just yet, but the day is still young. I'll be jumping back over to see what all I can get a claim on. Just some really fun stuff over there, vintage and thrifted. Some things are crafted and made to look vintage. Some things are authentically vintage. Some things are just thrifted items, and it's just it's my jam. It is my jam. I love this stuff. So if you're like me, you love to thrift, you love vintage looking stuff, you love crafts, some things are a little beyond my expertise and skill level. So those things are the things that I'm looking for, and that is what I will be shopping for today throughout the day as I can. I do have some other stuff going on. So today I have a couple little crafts that I'm going to do. I was so excited for my segment that I have scheduled for noon tomorrow on Craft Around the Clock. Don't miss it. It's a marathon, a DIY marathon, again, vintage and thrifted items. Anyways, I was so excited about preparing for that segment that I didn't really plan a whole lot for today, and so last night I was like, oh my goodness, it's too late to go shopping or do anything, so I'm just gonna have to do with what I have. And oh my gosh, if you challenge yourself to do something like that, it is so awesome. Like, for real, it just turns out so amazing, because I'm super excited for the stuff that I have planned for y'all today. So first off, this little craft. I went outside and I gathered up some Spanish moss out of my trees. That's it. Spanish moss out of my trees. That's it. That's all that it takes. So my husband will be very happy about that. He has me on a tight budget right now because we have a wedding coming up. Anyway, so I just pulled off a thing like this, and what I'm going to do is make a bird's nest out of it, okay? And it is literally so easy because it holds on to itself. It does make a little bit of a mess, so you want to definitely have something under it as you are working with it and scrunching it together. If you don't have Spanish moss where you're at, you can order this on Etsy, or you can even try this with like usnea, if usnea grows where you're at. If usnea grew here, I would be making myself some tea, because that is just a wonderful medicinal herb, or plant rather. But there you go. And it just holds. And so I've made one already back here. It's sitting back here just on my little thing, and I put some little quail eggs in there that I had already emptied and dried out, and they're just so quaint sitting over here in my little nook right there. And so I'm going to do some more eggs. And I'm going to put it up over here by my chickens. I don't know if you can see my chickens. No, you can't. It's on my very top shelf, but it's gonna go up on my very top shelf with my chickens that I have up there. I'm just gonna stick this up there right now next to them. And then I will put eggs in there later. Okay, so if you need a quick 5-minute craft, that is less than 5 minutes, okay? All right, so now I'm just going to brush that off a little bit. Okay, so our rabbits eat these old-fashioned oats with their feed. It's great for them. They love it, and so we get these little oatmeal containers. Let me grab my little kit here. These little oatmeal containers. So I'm just going to make a cute little container, a little wall sitter container that's kind of vintagey looking. And I am going to use my green because it's spring and I love this mossy color green. It's green chalk paint. The color is moss from Waverly. You get it at Walmart for like $7 or $8. Let's see here. Get this opened up. And I'm just going to go to town on it. You don't, I mean, let me see here real quick. I think I can, but I don't. No, I'm not going to peel off the label because the label is, I think it's like printed on there. Sometimes you can peel off the label, but not on this one. If you have this kind of oats container, I do not recommend. Oop, my brush was still wet because I washed it. I remembered like 2 minutes before the live that my brush was dirty and I needed, my favorite brush was dirty and I needed to wash it. So let's try that again because that's not going to work being so wet like that. Okay, we'll try it again. There we go. That's much better. Last time it just ran down like the itsy bitsy spider. And I'm just going all over this. You can kind of see the label through still. We are going to do a couple coats if needed. I know sometimes when it's wet, it's one way and then it dries and you're fine, but we'll see what we need here. We'll give the baby what she needs. And I'm not worried about making my hands messy because these days they are always either covered in like horse manure or dirt, garden dirt, or just, you know, something. Paint, chalk paint. We've got a lot of stuff going on around here. Springtime is a very busy season for me, especially because I like to garden and I like to can and I like to do all those things. So it's a busy time, and this year I've expanded my garden. So I'm very excited, and I've got all my little babies coming up, and I'm trying different techniques and different garden beds. And it's just so much fun. It's just so much fun. So, anyways, long story short, I'm not worrying about my fingers getting full of paint because paint is the least of my worries on my hands. I've been collecting horse manure out of our pasture for the past several weeks now for compost and all these things. I have asparagus, and the asparagus is probably about 5 years old now. And I hadn't really fertilized those beds since I started growing them. And so they're like, it's needing some love. It's needing some attention. Let's see here. Let me get my little blow dryer here, my fancy schmancy drying tool. Whew. So I've been doing that. I've been making compost tea, and I put some on some of my tomato plants that I have under like my high tunnel thing that I made. It's not very high, it's kind of a low tunnel. But anyways, I made it, and I made the tea. I put it on the tomato plants, but I just wanted to kind of test it, so I only did 2 plants. And this morning, I swear those tomato plants grew like 2 inches overnight. So I'm gonna go in and do the rest of them today, because I really I need a lot of tomatoes in my life. We eat tomato sauce constantly. If I don't have it canned, then I'm buying cases of it at a time, monthly. So I really need to just grow and can our own, which is the plan for this year. I have 24 tomato plants. One of the tomato plants looks like it's on its way out though, so probably 23. I'll probably end up with 23 tomato plants when it's all said and done. And then so I've got 24, 23 tomato plants. I've got my radish bed. I've got my watermelon plants, seeds that I planted. None have popped up yet. I haven't seen any seeds germinate, but I'm thinking any day now. They should be germinating any day. And then I have 2 grapes. I have a white grape and a blue Concord. So that'll be fun for juice and jelly later on when they start producing. Probably not this year because they're brand new plants, but next year for sure. So, but if they do grow this year and produce, I will be over the moon ecstatic. And then I planted a ton of pumpkin. Right now I have 10 of those seedlings coming up. I have 5 squash seedlings coming up. I lost count of the cucumbers, the pickling cucumbers that I planted. I lost count. I don't even know. Upwards of 10 for sure on those. And then, because we go through pickles like nobody's business, we put down some pickles for sure. So we love them on our sandwiches. We'll just eat them for no reason at all. Just, you know, wanting a quick snack. Gotta have the pickles. So we're pickle people. Jalapenos, pickled jalapenos on every meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, everything. Right next to our cucumber pickle. And then, so I planted a bunch of jalapeno seeds, like I direct sowed them. And then I was like, well, 10 minutes later, they hadn't germinated. So when our ag extension office was doing their little seedling sale, $1 a plant, $1 a plant. It was so great. I got 6 jalapeno plants. So I planted those, and I'm just needing to fertilize that bed, I think, because I've had asparagus growing on part of it, and I feel like it like stretched way out further than I really understand, and it's like depleted nutrients. So they're growing, but not as quickly as other things. So I'm going to give them some tea today also. What else? We've got tons of like leafy things like lettuce and spinach, and herbs like basil and cilantro, and then some onions that I planted back in like October that are still just trying to bulb right now. And then nasturtium. So I know of a homesteading YouTuber who takes nasturtium regularly, and she and her husband have been able to help their thyroids with nasturtium. So I'm wanting to try that to help me along a little bit as well. And then, but growing nasturtium in your garden is great for pests. So I'm also growing marigolds, which marigolds are great to like keep nematodes at bay. But it takes a full year of growing marigolds, and I haven't put marigolds in my garden before. So I'm growing the nasturtium because the nematodes can't, like, they will choose to eat nasturtium over your fruit, over whatever you have growing. So they'll choose the nasturtium. So I'm growing marigold to keep the, you know, pests at bay, the deer, all those things at bay. But I'm growing the nasturtiums to feed the pests that do decide to come anyways. So hopefully I won't have too much of an issue with such things. The big thing around here is the squash vine borers. They like to eat everyone's squashes. And I was digging through one of my garden beds that I've grown squash in before, and I did find a cocoon, which that's how they overwinter, is they cocoon down in your garden bed. So I'm not planting any squash in that bed. I have my squash and pumpkins on the other side of my house in my north gardens. In the south gardens, I have like watermelon and cucumbers in separate beds, but the squash vine borers, even though they go for like that kind of like gourdish type, you know, fruit and stuff, they don't really care for cucumber or watermelon. I also have butternut squash, and they don't care for butternut squash either. So my two big things that I'm trying to watch for are like my yellow squash and cucumber, and then my pumpkin, because I love pumpkin. Our rabbits, our show rabbits need the pumpkin. It's good for them also. So, all right. So that's good and pretty now. So what I have now is a little conundrum. And normally I pick my printable, what I'm going to use ahead of time, but I don't know. I was thinking either this, kind of like that on here, or a bunny thing. I'm thinking probably the flowery thing, because here's what I'm gonna do. I stained this somewhat. It's still a little damp. I tried to do it beforehand so that it would dry some. And this is gonna go on top like this. This is just a doily type thing, a lace doily thing that I got from a yard sale. And I'm just going to cut it and put it on here. So I think that this will go beautifully with that look. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So let me just get this. I'm going to get my little water cup, and I will go around it and cut, just kind of tear it out. I've already been out this morning watering my gardens. Everything looked great. I said hi to all of my little babies. I did notice that I have 6 corn plants coming up. I don't remember how many of those seeds that I planted. I hope more than 6, because my husband loves corn. I planted a ton of cucumber, or not cucumber, I mean, yes, I did plant a ton of cucumber, but okra is what I'm talking about now. And none of them have germinated yet, so I'm getting a little nervous there, but I'm holding out faith because it's typically pretty easy to grow okra here. I may have just planted a little early on the okra because okra really seems to like heat. It likes a lot of heat. It doesn't mind drought. Like, it's just, it's a plant that likes neglect. So I'm still waiting on those. I'm not losing hope just yet, but in my area, you can plant okra all year long. So if it doesn't come up in another week or 2 or whatever, then I'll probably just plant more seeds. I don't even look for seedlings in those because the seeds are so cheap and they will come up. I've had some come up, just volunteers on their own from old plants, from me not picking, quickly enough or harvesting quickly enough, and they fall off on the ground, because once they get so big, you don't really want to eat them. So, when it's 10,000 degrees outside, when you're purposely trying things, you just don't know what's going to happen. And then things will just happen on their own when they want to. Yeah, I love this green and this pattern together. I love it. All right, my Mod Podge. The Podge of Mod. Whoever Mod is. I love that name. It's a very, old name. I love the older style names. I know that they're coming back in style. I loved old names even when I was in high school. I had my daughter Emma named long before Emma was a big name in our culture. Now everybody's named Emma. But I had her. I knew I wanted her to be Emma. My grandfather's sister's name was Emma, and so she was a darling. I just really wanted a family name and a name that hadn't been used in a while, and something very feminine and elegant. And I think that Emma is just such an elegant name. So if you're an Emma, just know I think highly of your name. Okay. That way. I think probably that way. Or, okay, let's see here. Let's see, what am I doing? I think this way. This way's probably the best. Or, yeah, no. I think it's supposed to be this way. I was gonna put the paper down on my little thing, but it's covered in little bits from my Spanish moss. That's okay. That's okay. I'll just use my hand. Okay. Keeping in mind my seam, I want it to go to the back. And I'm also keeping in mind that I'm putting that doily on top, and it's going to, or that lace, and it's going to take up some room, right? So I moved it down a bit so that it'll be visible. gonna go over this with my Mod Podge to get it decoupaged on there really nicely. Okay, that's how we're looking so far. Okay, and now thinking we need coffee, a little bit of instant coffee here. And because I'm just loving like just a little bit of grunge, okay? I just want a little bit of grunge. Let me see if I have a container or something, and I don't. That's okay. I'm going to use this lid because I have several of these lids. And I don't want to get coffee in my Mod Podge or you know, like mess it up. I don't care if I get Mod Podge in my coffee, but I don't want coffee in my Mod Podge because sometimes I like to just have clear Mod Podge. I'm just dabbing this on ever so subtly. Not really. I'm gonna really plunk it on there. Plunk, 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 plunk. And I'm doing this because that's what really gives it like a good vintagey feel, because nothing stays perfect forever. Like if something looks new and it's supposed to be vintage, it's very possible that it is a reproduction. Which, I mean, this right here is a reproduction, right? I'm reproducing something that would be vintage or could be vintage. I'm sure that they had things like this back in the day. I don't know. But, all right. And it's just, this is how it's looking. Oh, is she here? Oh, okay. Will you go help her, please? I'm watching my sweet friends' children today, and they're here. They've arrived. My daughter was just letting me know. So I'm gonna keep this pretty short because I don't want to go too long. You know, we've got children and things and doors and animals and stuff. I do not have the quietest house. Other people live here. Thank the good Lord. I'm so blessed. And I'm so blessed to be able to do this with y'all. That I live a life where I can do what I love and be with y'all on here. And look at how that's turning out. I love it. And last week, I got on here and I'm just talking away, and I'm about 20 minutes in and people are finally jumping on, you know, and then they're like, oh, we can't hear you. And I'm thinking it was just like a bad connection from my mic. And I was like, oh man, I ended up having to disconnect and restart my whole live because it just was not working. So hopefully this isn't another dud. I've been having everybody go over to the marketplace today to see all those goodies over there. So I don't have any, but I don't think I have anybody watching me right now. I can't really see. I got a notification. I keep forgetting to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. That's another thing. So I'm gonna, nice. Good morning. So just finishing this up. Almost done. And just Mod Podging around, just trying to get it. I just like the look of grunge and femininity together. I just think it's so beautiful when you mix those two styles. Okay, so there's my, that. Okay, I think I'm done with that, and I'm done with that. And now, now I'm going to plug in my hot glue gun, and I can hot glue on the top. Uh-oh. The dog. My dog is always on high alert when there's people. Even me, like I've been walking up from like the backyard and she's like, ah, human. Good morning. Do you want to come be live with me? Morning. Sweet babies are here. I'm so excited. I love it. So I'm just cutting this along. I had stained it with my coffee grunge mixture, which is instant coffee, hot water, cinnamon, and vanilla. Smells amazing. You're welcome. Be careful. Love you. And so I'm just trying to figure out which way now I want this to go. Oh, it's got a nice little, I'm gonna do it like that. That will be perfect. Bring it down a little bit there in the front. Oh, that's gonna be beautiful. Just pull it a little bit and adjust it. Oh, goodness me. Look at how cute that is. And I'm gonna grunge it up a little bit more, like where you can see the white and stuff. I'm not too worried about it right now though. So, let's see how hot we are. Put that down there. Put this over here. And is going to lift and glue. Okay, but you have to be careful because there's holes in this what did I call it? In this lace. Words. Can't remember words when I'm crafting. We know this. So, keep going around just like that. And I'll use my little stick to not burn my fingers off. That is the best way to go. Not burning your fingers off is ideal. All right. There we go. It's hot glued on, and I'm just going to add some of my raffia on here. All right. Just try to get it here. Just try to get it like lined up a little bit so you can make some sense of it. Okay, and then I'm going to go around it. a room full of children staring at me. Like, what is that crazy lady doing this morning? And who is she talking to? Currently, I'm talking to myself. Okay, I'm just gonna put a dab of hot glue to hold that in place. And again, try not to burn my fingers off. Let's give that a second. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of my Spanish moss, and I'm going to add that on there, and that's sticking pretty good. A touch more just to help it along. Okay. I'm going to tie this again. Trim these ends up, just all different lengths. A little bit shorter. All right. Oh, you know what? Oop, oop. I'm getting in the coffee. My little grungy spots there. I also have these little buttons that I made out of my coffee grunge salt dough, and I'm just going to glue that on there also. Oops, don't run away. Just gonna stick that on the front there. And there we go. All done. Super easy, super simple. Look at that. And gorgeous. I love how feminine it looks and primitive. Primitive and feminine. So pretty. So pretty. All right. Well, that's all I have today. And I hope that you will join me tomorrow on Craft Around the Clock for the DIY marathon, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you go over and check out the market day today. It is fantastic. I love you all. I'm so blessed to have y'all watch my page and watch my YouTube. I'm so thankful for y'all, and thank you for homemaking a homemade home with me today. Take care.